Hey, this is Kevin Carr, CEO of ProtoCEO. Today I want to talk to you about building a mission for your business and why it's so important to get that right before you do anything else. I built this brand, ProtoCEO. I'm the CEO. I've been doing it for a number of years. I worked corporate for almost 14 years. Before that, I started a nonprofit, and before that, I worked at two major universities in sports. So I've had a really great working career for other people, and for the last almost plus 7 years I've been working for myself as an entrepreneur. And I can tell you it's not been easy, but what I can tell you has been the most rewarding work as a professional that I've ever done. It's the most meaningful because I took time to build a business with a mission in mind. And for me, a lot of people say, I want to do a business, I want to do a business, I want to do a business. Man, help me start a business. One of the first things that before I could start even doing a business was trying to figure out what a few things I needed to be competitive in business for. I needed to figure out what that for was going to be. What was I going to compete for? What was I going to solve? What was the problem? What was going to be my niche? All those things before I could even build this brand that you see behind me here. I really wanted to make sure that I had that right, because you can look good all you want, have a great logo, have a great looking brand, but if you don't have a great mission and you don't have a business that's not just a nice to have business, it's a must have business, you're just really, as they say, going to be doing a elevated hobby. I didn't want that for me. So when I began to think about what my mission was going to be, it was really, Kevin, what's really burning in you that you really want to solve? Like, what kind of problem out there do you really feel like you want to attack? And for me, it was personal. My brother was an athlete who transitioned from high school to college at a very high level, recruited by every major school you can imagine, got there, and inside of a couple of years, he was back home. That really impacted me, spoke to me, like, how can I help guys like my brother who worked so hard to get there and wasn't able to stay there? So my problem I wanted to solve is how could I change the narrative with athletes, particularly one in my house, but also ones that were across not only the country, but perhaps even the world one day. That's how big I was thinking. So my mission really was important to me. It was personal, but I also experienced it firsthand and started to really dig in. So I was in really the business of helping people when I first started. I was a counselor in a program, and as an undergrad in college, then as a master's degree student, I studied how to run programs, and I was literally helping people along the way, getting my education. And then my first job was I was an advisor to athletes, and I had found my mission, not necessarily the athletes exactly like my brother, which was actually good because I didn't necessarily work with football players and basketball players. Ultimately, I worked with golfers and tennis and track and cross country. Those were different from anything I had ever experienced, and that was good for me because I learned how to deal with athletes, male, female, from different walks of life, different classifications, different parts of the country, and it really sharpened my tool chest for how to deal with an athlete who was much different than what I was used to being around. So for me, that was great. And then I began to study years of that, doing it for Florida State, Michigan State, the NBA. I had gotten to the pinnacle of that, and I said, I still want to do more. So I wanted to solve the problem because even at the NBA, athletes were transitioning and they weren't transitioning as well as I thought they should. So this became my mission, how to change the narrative of transition to where athlete wasn't going up and down or sort of a slow spiral when they transition out of sport, having depression, having financial problems, not being able to be as fulfilled and moving around different jobs. I wanted it to be more rewarding. I thought that athletes could be as successful in their second act or second career as their first, and they just needed a team approach. So we decided, at least I decided, I was going to be that bench for them. So it became where I wanted to solve the problem. All these things where athletes weren't getting their education, they didn't have maybe the business skills, they lacked some of the know-how and acumen that sort of takes to be successful in business. So I thought that I could work on that problem and solve it to where you see versions like you see now. Michael Jordan, very successful, and is right, really has redefined how an athlete can transition and be more successful in business and industry than he was playing, and arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. So to me, I wanted to create for every former athlete and even executives like myself, when you transition, how can what you do next be equaled, if not exceeded? And to me, I thought that was extremely good. And I was going to start where my sort of skill set was. So I kept examining what was the need of this audience. And I kept sort of looking at things and on my background here, if you really dig into this, you can see this on a larger screen. Some of the things I really wanted to figure out and I want to continue to figure out. So I started writing for myself, what is the need? What is the need? What is the need? And I kept really trying to figure that out. And then it really finally came to me what my mission for the company was going to be. And I sorted it out with all kinds of mission statements. I went to the web and I looked at mission statement after mission statement after mission statement and finally came up with mine. And my mission for my company was we're going to be a career transition and business development consulting firm for elite athletes, entertainers, and organizations who seek to increase their optimization and monetization in the business world. Literally, I said I wanted to increase that success rate in business industry for athletes, artists, and executives like myself who had been at a very high level and didn't want to come down from that. They wanted to continue to exceed in that. And to me, that was extremely, extremely important. So when I dug in my mission, I looked at all kinds of missions, as I said, on the web until I really pieced mine together. And it really came from just me studying some of the best companies in the world and saying, I like a piece of that one, so I'm gonna write that down. I like a piece of that one, I'm gonna write that down and put it all together. And for me, when I was beginning to do this, I had a full-time job. It was not easy. I had a family and I had been at this company a long time. It was 3 years in the making before I even left. You'll hear me say this, that I carry around 2 computers and 2 phones, my own personal computer, my own phone, and their computer and their phone. I never want anyone to accuse me for commingling anything using work time. So when I was on the train and people were sleeping, going to work at 6 a.m., catching the train to Metro North to the NBA downtown, I went to work. That was my hour power at the NBA before I got to the NBA of working on my own stuff. And then from there, I would go and do the work of the company. Then on my way home, 7 o'clock at night on the train, I would spend another hour power. When people were sleeping, I was working. Before I got home, I was working on my dream mission of my company. So it became real clear. And I didn't stop just there. I decided to go after something extra, not just the mission, like I just said, but I went after something called vision and values too. And these were things like, what do I envision? Our vision, when people see us, we want to be these kinds of attributes. And that's important to have. So go out and look at vision statements for companies. What kind of values as a company you want to be known for? Those were things that, to me, I wanted to be known for. And once I got those things down, it really allowed me to really figure out what my potential brand was going to be. So a lot of people would say, develop the name for the cool company, develop the logo for the company. No. I say, get it down in terms of your mind so you can speak it, so you can feel it, so you can understand it. So when you decide to then build your brand, like I have behind me, even this poster here with Pro to CEO, it becomes a lot clearer, and it becomes clear for everyone else around you what you are and what you aren't. So if you don't know how to do that, that's something that you want to start with. Start by very simple saying, I want a mission. What is that mission? And if you don't have one, go out and look at some of the best companies in the world or some of the small companies that are passionate that you know of and are very local to you, and go out and see what their mission is about. Then if you even want to go a step further, what's the vision? What's the values? And from there, to me, it will come to you very clearly. So that's what I have to share. And I think today you should have a good sense of missions are very important for your business, and you should have that. If you don't have a mission, you really don't have a real intended purpose. And then if you want to go a step further, vision and values, and you should be able to build off of that. I'll do more in the future, but that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your tip. Our brand is transition, but at the same time, I had to have a mission first. So from there, I've been able to build this into an organization that's helped many types of businesses, and I'm proud to say that. And I want to keep on doing that in the future. There you have it. Take care. Until next time, work on your mission before the logo, before the cool name of the company. If you do those things, you'll be very clear on what it is that you want to do. And you can actually really have a real good structure for moving forward and being able to work on the other things that come with building your business. Take care for now. Bye-bye.